crazier than this. You can't make this crap up. The Chiefs just won the AFC West and took an extra game lead on the Buffalo Bills, knocking the ball off of the upright and in for 3. Welcome into RGR Football. This is our live catharsis power session, therapy session. Thank you for joining us. He's Dan Harms. I'm Ryan Tracy. They literally just won again at the last second. Are you okay? That's what I need to know.
It's a running joke at this point. I think the Chiefs are literally trying to find new ways to win football games, and in as many different ways as possible. We get a doink from Matthew Wright, the Chiefs' third string kicker at this point. It's so funny. Like I'm going to tell you guys off the start, I no longer care. Because the Chiefs in this football game said, we found our best personnel, 12 personnel with Noah Gray, Travis Kelce, DeAndre Hopkins, and Xavier Worthy. And we are just going to boom, boom, boom. And then in the second half, they went strictly to almost 11 personnel. Didn't do it at all. Also, we're not going to run the ball either, even though we probably can right now. No, we're not going to do any of that. They don't care. I don't care. They're 12-1. They don't care. I don't care.
Nobody cares more than Jim Harbaugh right now. I mean, Mahomes is like crazy. This is nuts, folks. Welcome in RGR Football post-game live. This is where we break down, tell you our notes, tell you what we saw, what you should be happy about, what you shouldn't be happy about, and holy crap, the fact that they got one done is lucky. Minotaur giving away memberships, doing his thing. Appreciate you, buddy. Folks, if you get a free membership, you'll get notified. You can click and join and upgrade to the rookie and above, and you get all the extra content, all the extra notes, a lot of stuff there. And we're going to go through this bit by bit because my notes are pretty ugly, Dan. I don't know about you. It was difficult. Luckily, in the first half, I still had some things on the positive notes because the second half started with 0 positives in 3 state drives. And that's concerning coming out of halftime when you think you'd be able to regroup. But on the positive side, Pops ran like Pops ran. This was, it was far and away not even close to a split with Hunt. I think Hunt got 5 carries total. This was Pop's show, and he delivered on what he brings. I felt like he ran as good as we've seen him earlier in the season. He's got a ways to get into his peak, I think. But I was really happy with what Pops did tonight.
Yeah, this is exactly what the game plan was: run the football. Andy, I don't know if you heard it. You probably did and then ignored it because you don't give a shit what we say. But all in all, it's exactly what you expect. He looks fully healthy. I know he's got a plate in his ankle with 7 screws or whatever they said it is. He looks good to go, and he is going to be a big reason that they actually can do something in the postseason, because if it was up to Kareem Hunt and Samaje Perine and some of the people they've got on the roster right now, the run game, even when they decide to do it, would not be good. And Kareem Hunt's got nothing left in terms of running the ball. It's pretty much over. The screen was good, but in terms of running game, he's pretty much toast. So if you get him in space, he'll give you a good amount, but they can't do that right now. So it's up to Isaiah Pacheco to really handle this load right now.
It really is. And kudos for him. At least he did have a couple of chunk plays. That screen, I should have mentioned that. That's a very good point. Like he did add to the outcome of this game. But you're right. I think he is spent in terms of overall. But if you can do 2 or 3 of those games, okay, fine. You can contribute in a positive way, and that's absolutely fine. And I like the fact that at least early they were platooning. And I like that concept because it lets you get in a little bit of a rhythm. I don't like it when it's only on 3rd downs or 2nd and longs or whatever. Like, I want them to get in a rhythm because I think that helps runners and blockers, and that is going to be part of the problem. On the cornerback topic, you guys are absolutely right. Najee had to come back in. Kudos to Najee because I had him down in my notes twice on special teams in the first half before he had to come in on defense. Yep. And, he shook off getting benched. He said, screw it, I'm going to go make an impact in the kick game, and he did. So kudos to him. Thanks for getting back out there. But holy crap, it's getting thin out there, brother. People were asking me last week about Steven Nelson coming in. Now there's a report he's coming in on Monday, and I said, I didn't think they liked him the last time they let him go. I didn't think they'd let him in, but they don't have a choice now. They have to go give Steven Nelson a contract at this point.
I tweeted out, if he walks into Arrowhead Stadium without a limp, he's getting a contract. Period. End of story. Like, you just, at this point, if you walk into the facility and you can be a body, yeah, you're going to play. And I know that he retired after last year. He played really good football for the Texans last season in that defense. He did not play well under Bob Sutton's defense. How many people did? Yeah. So there is that to remember, that he's a different player than he was before then. I'm also not going to say that he's going to come in and just be good, because that's not realistic either, as we have seen to this point with DJ Humphries, who we'll find out. But lo and behold, when you rush a player off of a severe injury into a game because you kind of have to, you lie in the bed that you made. And this is what the Chiefs have done to themselves. So at the end of the day, that sucks. Hopefully he's okay. Wanya Morris was fine. Wanya Morris has been what he is throughout this season. But to getting back to your point, they need bodies at corner. So I would not surprise me if Darius Rush is brought up from the practice squad this week, if the news on Josh Williams' injury is not great, as well as Keith Taylor. It's not good. You need bodies, and they got to get somebody out there right now.
Yeah. It looks like a concussion or a stinger to me, just by the way, especially if you saw the shot of him going back to the locker room. He's having trouble moving his neck real smoothly. So I feel like that's it. We'll see what that becomes, because that's exactly the prognosis that Donovan Smith had. And that's the reason that, as I understand it, he is not on a roster currently. So we'll get to Dirty's. I'll just do it now since we're talking about Dirty. I always poo-poo the guys, and I guess I shouldn't say it anymore, because they took Hunt back. Looks like they might be interested in Steven Nelson coming back. You never know, right? I will for now say, for the rest of this season, that I never know, because they are breaking a lot of the things that I've heard they said were like rules, because they understand they have got to have the bodies to make the run against this crazy like destiny-filled run at a three-peat. Like, they're almost out of cash. Let's be real. Like, they're at 2.5 now. That was before the Wright signing. I don't think it's breaking the bank, but now if you do Nelson, like, I don't know if you could afford to do anymore, to be honest, without doing something drastic. And that's always iffy. We are going to take some of your questions tonight. Make sure that you hit the super chat if you want on the show tonight, and don't miss tomorrow, where it's all of you guys all the time. We just answer the questions. So we're going to get to the super chatters here momentarily. A couple other things that stood out to me, and for those of you who don't know, let me turn this on. You get my notes in the members section. Remigio, kudos to him. Coming off cold on a day after McColl gets hurt. I thought he had an attitude. I liked him talking it up with guys after the tackles and stuff. Like, he was not backing down. Areza is a weapon. Fair enough.
Yeah, yes.
Don't want to use that weapon, but it works. So they both stood out in a positive way in the first half for me. Clearly, what it comes down to is just, as you said, they found what worked. The quick game they went to, as we have been talking about all year, and it worked, and they moved the ball. They ran a slant to D-Hop, and it worked, and they scored a touchdown. They were starting to do some of the things that can get them wins, and then they went away from it because it wasn't in the game plan. That's basically what it comes down to for me. And this defense is just exhausted at this point. I don't know that it's bad technique. I didn't see a whole lot of guessing at gaps from defenders or anything, but the defense just looks wore down. What do you think?
I thought the defense was fine. You saw the Chargers adjust in the first drive of the second half. Fine. Okay. The problem was when you have a 7.5-minute drive and the offense says, hey, we have a 3rd and 1. Let's go ahead and make the field half and do what we do every single time against this team. And they're ready for it. Instead of just running the damn ball, extending a drive, and giving your defense rest. That's directly on the offense. I don't necessarily care about the opening touchdown. It is what it is. But when you go out there after a long drive and your offense basically gives your defense the middle finger, I'm sorry. That's inexcusable coaching, and it's kind of malpractice, in my opinion.
You're not wrong. And everybody on the defense is going to say, hey, we got to do our end too, but that wasn't an easy position to be in, especially against a team that this is their Super Bowl. They knew that riding tonight, the Chargers had one chance to even stay in the AFC West. The Chiefs now own the West. Again, it's over. and they will now have the best shot at getting the 1 seed.
The Bills
again
lose today. Yeah, the Bills lose. They have the driver's seat to the 1 seed. And here we are. Why are we doing this? What are they? Why can't they just be normal? Hey, guess what? It doesn't matter. They don't care. I don't care. It's just all 1 seed. The worst team the Chiefs have had in years. And guess what? They're probably going to be the 1 seed on the AFC side. And they're going to get 2 weeks off because the last game of the season is going to mean nothing.
Right. That you're absolutely right. So let's show you for the officialness here, folks. And I am going to blow this up. Do not worry. If I can get the frame here, right? So here's where we stand. The Chiefs did take over another game lead on the Buffalo Bills. So they're the only ones that could catch them. And that would require 2 losses on the Chiefs now. They would have to lose 2 of these next games. And that just isn't something that happens. And if you look, did they hide their so this means you've clinched your division. That's what these two mean. So you've clinched your playoff spot and you've clinched the division. They get here to the point where if anything stumbles from here on out, whether it's Steelers or Buffalo, they will clinch the 1 seed. What throws me is this one right here. Overall net points. And I just highlighted, I'm sorry, I clicked the wrong thing, folks. 56 net points. Only Houston has a smaller margin of any AFC eligible playoff team right now. It is crazy.
The big problem right here is that you watched. I finally got to watch the end of the chart of the Bills and Rams game.
Mm-hmm.
They're not winning a game like that. They can't.
No,
it's not It's not possible. Okay, I know they have Patrick Mahomes. They cannot score 30 plus points in a game and win if you have coming up against a Josh Allen or someone that is hot at that moment. They cannot win that game. They won't. They have to be healthy. They have to play good defense. And again, the Chargers came into this game without their best receiver and couldn't do anything for the first half. And the Chiefs just messed around. They did nothing. And they took a 13-0 point lead into halftime thinking, we're good. And then had one drive in the third quarter, and it went 3 and out. It's again, they don't care. I don't care because they don't. But if this is the type of team that you're going to continue to play as, the playoffs are not built for this type of team right now. Now, we all know things change. And because we saw last year, they're going to get a little bit of leniency. They're going to get a little bit. But the problem is that Andy Reid every week is saying, we got to clean this up. We got to do this. And then the week comes, they don't.
It never gets cleaned up.
Andy Reid goes to a wildcat formation as soon as they get close to the 20-yard line. Oh, what's that? A penalty. Trey Smith, 3rd and 1. No reason to do any of this. 15-yard penalty. In all of these happen in the red zone. They're undisciplined.
Yeah,
right now, they are an undisciplined football team.
And nothing is reinforcing that because they keep eking out these
keep winning.
There are no repercussions at this point. They're a spoiled child that you cannot get to eat their vegetables because there's no repercussions. That's where we are. We're going to get to your questions here, you guys.
Oh, yeah.
Would you prefer the Chiefs' interior offensive line situation or the Chargers' tackle situation? I would make my living with good tackles if I had to protect a quarterback.
I mean, you guys are looking at this right now. How many times in the second half did Justin Herbert sit back there for 4 or 5 seconds and just stand in a pocket? He didn't have to do anything. And that would be nice. That'd be really nice to see. I love this interior. But at the end of the day, when you're rotating 3 guys at left tackle and Jawan Taylor, who is getting exclusive airtime from Chris Collinsworth because he doesn't know the rule anymore, you can lean back. I looked up the rule myself. It is in the rule. Just look it up, Chris. It's not that hard. But he's getting exclusive airtime because he's gotten penalties and he was moving back. He was leaning back a little bit. So yeah, it would be nice to have Brayshawn Slater and Joe Alt and figure it out on the interior.
Yeah, I mean, hey, I'm loving these comments. I swear we're going to get to them, but I think we both agree. And Minotaur, thank you for your support, brother. As with the gifted memberships, as always. Casey, nice to see you. As CJ Stroud says, all the glory and praise to Satan. Okay. Did Tom Brady help us? Did I miss something? I'm not sure what happened here. But yes, as you said, info. This ending had to be that way just to rub it in all the haters crying right now. We keep getting away with it. I mean, I will say this. The broadcast had one thing right. If Mahomes doesn't sidestep Henley on that last play, I don't know. It's iffy. It's all iffy.
But it doesn't matter. But what does it matter? Again, it doesn't matter because it didn't happen. You want to know the cool part about that is he's getting out of the pocket. He's looking down. He kind of sees it out of the corner of his eye. Immediately, eyes come down and he shifts inside and boom, it's a first down to Travis Kelce. That's how fast in those gotta have it moments Patrick Mahomes thinks. Like that play to Xavier Worthy. How many quarterbacks make that play all the way? Also, Samaje Perine took Derwin James out of the play. You see Mahomes try to go up that way. He picks it up. Now he goes out to the left. That play does not happen without key, real things from Samaje Perine, Patrick Mahomes, and then Xavier Worthy. Stopping in space and coming back to the football. I know it's in the grand scheme. They didn't put up a ton of points. That's growth.
That's evolution.
Yeah, it's growth from Xavier Worthy. Do you think he makes that play 5 weeks ago? No, he doesn't. He doesn't come back to the football either. So you have better chance of someone coming to hit you while you're sitting there waiting for it. Instead, he comes back and he makes sure no one's there. So you get these little incremental growths, and they're using him a lot on the outside. You guys notice that? You want to know why that is? They're trying to make him very familiar with the sideline because come playoff time, you think he's going to get some deep shots down the sideline? Because I'm pretty sure he's going to. So that's more of a play there. So Daryl, I'm telling you something good right now. Appreciate the 5, man. Then turn the mats around and tell me who's first. So we're telling you a little something good because there are players making some good plays. There's just lots of injuries right now. You go ahead. You tell them who's first.
I mean, the first thing for me is Charles Omenihu is making a positive impact. I didn't think he played as many snaps as I thought they were going to, and I'm happy about that. But he made an impact when he was out there. That's the first thing on defense that stands out to me. The first thing that stood out to me on offense is that after the first 2 series, what you have in DJ Humphries shown through. He's not more nimble than Sua. He's not necessarily stronger than Wanye. But his years of experience make all the difference in the world. So, if you can maybe rehab that hamstring for me, if you can maybe take care of his lower body, that'd be great. Maybe he doesn't have to play so damn fast and so damn much. I'm really interested to see how many snaps it took. But I will say a soft tissue injury now, after an ACL reconstruction, that isn't something that just heals up right away. You pull those hamstrings because you're compensating for the structure of the knee that you either don't have full integrity in or you're just not sure of mentally. I thought he actually came out and looked like he had faith in the knee, and I felt like he was moving well. I thought even in the run game, once he settled down, there was a stunt problem with Joe Tooney at one point. He got his hands beat up by Mac once. Like, there are a couple of things, but once he got back out there, I mean, the guy hasn't been on the field in a year. So I wasn't too worried about it. I was actually pleasantly surprised with his performance.
Yeah, the communication stuff is going to get figured out. Like that is more of just a playing time thing, playing next to somebody. But at the end of the day, for me, Shamar Connor, buddy, your whole ass is showing on a weekly basis. It's awful. No offense. Like, it's not his fault either because they refuse to play some of their quicker players in the slot. They refuse. Yeah. And every single time on third down, you want to know what the teams are doing? Who's winning right now?
Who's on 2-7?
Who's doing that? Who's winning? Oh, okay. Put him in the slot. Put him in the slot. And every time he gets cooked. Oh, you have a backup tight end? Throw it up to him. He's not going to get his head around. It don't matter. It's every single week. He is a weak point of this defense.
And honestly, it's the depth of the corner that I think is the only thing preventing them from changing that. I actually liked when you saw Nazi go into the nickel. I talked about that last week as a possible option. I thought he did better in there, and I would do that again. If Jay Will's okay, I would start Nazi inside, and I would not ask Chamari to do that because there are other things going on too. Cook was late coming over on one of those deep passes. I know it's not a surprise to Dan, but he actually made a couple good open field tackles. He had to make up for it. He did. Hicks passed off the touchdown pass in the end zone and should have taken the man. He just made a mental error. That's what happens when you have rookies playing single high. To go from Hicks not barely playing until the last few weeks to asking him to man single high against a quarterback that can put it 65 yards down the field, that was probably not the best solution in my mind.
We talked about it. They don't have a true free safety, and it shows on a weekly basis with just busts, just coverage busts. And when you're rotating 4 different safeties in there, you're going to have coverage busts. And luckily, it did not impact the totality of this football game because, again, the Chiefs should have lost if you count some of the things that Justin Herbert missed. He did. He missed quite a few things, but that's how this game is played, right? So at the end of the day, they're trying to get over their injuries. It's hard to overcome the injuries because, Jalen Watson was playing as a legitimate elite cornerback too. It's hard to replace that type of level of play. It's hard, especially when your 4-man rush is kind of not doing it. And you trade for Josh Uche and then you make him an inactive player because for whatever reason you said, we don't need that. And you just want to keep throwing Mike Dana out there, who is literally ineffective as a pass rusher, but you just keep doing it. I don't understand outside of the simple fact that when it comes to the playoffs, Charles Omenihu is going to be your starting defensive end. He's not going to be a rotational player in terms of what he is right now. He's going to be your starter. They're ramping him up. It's not going to be Mike Dana. So, but they've traded for multiple people the last 2 years. How many of them have done anything? Zero. The answer is zero. None of them in terms of on the defensive side. The defensive side.
And I did not even see FAU line up at defensive end tonight. I saw him inside a couple times. Did he?
Times.
Okay.
Yeah, he was there.
All right. Okay, good.
Didn't do anything, but he did.
Well, I was going to say there's a reason I missed him then, but still better than not lining him up there at all, which is what I thought. Yeah. So, Liam, hope we answered your question. Daryl, thank you for your support info. That was a good one. Did Mahomes flee multiple clean pockets? I wouldn't call them necessarily clean, but he jumped pockets he didn't have to, in my opinion. Did you see totally clean ones that he just ran away from?
I mean, there was no real totally clean pockets in this football game. I don't think he had anything that wasn't muddy. A couple of times he decided to step into a good up into the pocket. Like that was good, but he's always having to traverse muddy pockets. So he ran himself into a couple of sacks, in my opinion, but he's trying not to get sacked back there. He's like, I'm standing up dead. Like if I just stay back here, I'm dead. And the one that really grinded my gears was when they went play action on back-to-back plays. What are you doing when you don't run the football, but you want to go play action under center deep play action twice in a row? You got away with it the first time. You said, hey, let's go back to the well. Didn't get away with it that time. It's just so weird.
I tell you what, though, that play is gold because turning his back set everything on fire. If that play hadn't broken down at 2 blocks, that's a hell of a play. So I agree with you. They should have called him back-to-back, but I do want to see that one again. It wasn't the play's fault that went badly, in my opinion.
It was just
Bradley. We stopped shooting ourselves in the foot. Yeah, exactly. Bradley, do we stop shooting ourselves in the foot in the third quarter? No, it doesn't feel like there's any urgency to do that. It feels like they're going to mumble through until it gets to January and, oh, crap. Hey, we can play like crap and still win? Okay, we'll just keep doing that. These close games are going to be the death of me. It's getting close, Dirty. Girk, we were right, worthy, and winning. Well done, buddy. I like the alliteration. That's a whole lot of words with W, bud.
Good stuff.
But hey, good for right. Nothing against him, but I'm ready to see Butker back. So let's hope. And the little things with Worthy, he ran into contact and survived a couple of times. Forced a couple of missed tackles of contact tonight. I really liked what I saw from Xavier. My wife and my kids were like, why does he keep running out of bounds early? I'm like, well, he's 163 pounds. And Derwin James is running around out there. But later, as the game went on, when it was situational, he was able to take on some contact. And I was happy to see that.
Yeah. He also tried to make a tackle on the interception. Like, don't stop throwing your body around, little man. Stop doing it.
Right. No,
stop doing it.
Not required, brother. FLDB, nice to see you. You guys know FLDB. He is one of our mods, always here, and a member for 42. Holy crap, dude. I did not realize it's been that long. Cheers to you. 12-1, baby. 2-game lead over the Bills, and that's really what matters. It's nice to beat your rival, your in-division rival, but it is that all-important bye week that we are cruising towards. I tell you what, at some point we need to ask if Andy is the problem. Are you there?
I mean, come on, guys. I know it sucks to see them win football games this way. How many teams do you think would love to be in the position of back-to-back Super Bowl champions going for the third, and they're just falling into wins? Okay,
Yeah.
can we? I do agree that he needs to have some different play calling stuff. Like something has to change.
Yeah,
I'm telling you right now, because they found it in this game, and then they so obviously went away from it. I want to say that they're holding it back just to be like, hey, we've been screwing around with you guys for an entire season, and we still got the 1 seed. I don't know. That's how it kind of feels when you find out something that works very well, and then you just send it away.
Yeah, don't look here. Don't look here. You didn't see that. Nothing to see here. We're moving on. We'll show you that in January.
One of the greatest coaches of all time. Is he having a little bit of a problem right now? Sure. Someone told me today on Twitter that he should be fired. Please, sir, give your head a shake and go away.
Oh my God. Yeah. Ask the Jags how they feel about Andy Reid. Andy Reid would have a job in 2 seconds flat. I mean, yeah. That is just, yeah. Okay, I'm not even going to go there. Not to give you grief, Chief Casey.
Oh yeah, no, it's not.
It's just not a thing. It's one of those things that the older they get, you just have to deal with some of the idiosyncrasies or whatever the hell that is as they get older, because the bulk of it just makes up so much more for it. Thanks for the support. Appreciate you. Protection looks better when they spread out and don't help the tackles. Makes Pat quick reads and has more options. Yeah, he has more options, especially when they're going to sit back and cover 2, because you now have 4 defenders defending 5 routes, and that's why. Yeah. So it is also about what the Chargers chose to do to defend it as well. And I know the broadcast was saying, spread it out and it makes your life easier. It also makes it that if you don't get the ball out in 2.3 to 2.5, you're dead. And that's not what we need for old Captain PM15. So, yes, in small doses, I think it can be very effective, and it certainly does play into running the slants, running the quick game, actually crossing formations and not waiting for clearage 12 yards down the field. Just get the dang ball out.
Yeah, there's no legitimate hot routes, except they did. Patrick did a good job in this game identifying those quick little passes. That was good because you bring a heavy personnel, you have a receiver to one side, you got like 7 yards of separation. Just throw it to him, get it out, get the ball out quickly. You get some easy yards. That's something they haven't done a ton of, honestly, since the moving on from Tyreek Hill. They did that all the time, and they consistently did it. So I think that showing you that they're able to do that a little bit and in-game manage that does help you in some respects. So they're just another wrinkle to look for when the postseason comes around.
Yeah, I agree. Although I did there was one time on that last drive, that A-gap blitz that Durbin was coming on.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was the play before. I can't remember which one it was. But I did think that he had a hot route designated, and he did go to X on it from what it looked like to me. So, hey, if you actually slide those in, and you're not just relying on the magic of Mahomes' right arm all the time, if you have designated hot routes, maybe you could hit them more. There's a concept. Good God. Daniel, just got to say that I'm still not impressed with offense. I don't like the deep ball to Hopkins. I think it should have been reserved for Worthy or Brown. O-line is still susceptible. I mean, it'd be great when Brown's back, but Brown ain't back. So you got to work with what you got. And I agree. But I do think as often as X has been open this season, I didn't feel, and maybe I'll be corrected on all 22, Dan. You tell me if you were watching more of the safety work. It didn't feel like they were ignoring him like a lot of teams have.
No, I don't even think so much as that he was open a ton downfield in this game. I don't think that they were actively trying to target him downfield. And, again, in the first game, they needed a jolt. They needed something. They specifically drew up a play for him to get him open. Got it. This game was a little bit different. And again, when you hit a team for a 50-plus yard touchdown bomb to a rookie like that, they're going to have a little bit in the back of their mind. Don't let him get deep. So if I'm not going to find out until I watch the tape, but I'm going to be willing to bet the reason the deep ball went to DeAndre Hopkins is because you got somebody on the other side of the field pulling coverage, because he was wide open. Had he not been absolutely unequivocally just hooked, completely hooked. And I don't care where the ball is, to be very honest with you. Pass interference is pass interference. Illegal contact, which is what it is, doesn't matter where the football is. It's illegal contact, and it is a 5-yard penalty and an automatic first down. So it doesn't really matter where the football is. I don't care that it's uncatchable. It's illegal contact.
And
That's
had he not been slowed down with that hook, that ball would have been catchable. That's
Correct.
the problem.
So the explanation stuff doesn't make any sense. Again, I'm not complaining about officiating. There were a lot of things that you could have called in this game. There were a lot of things that, they let go. And I know people are really mad about the targeting or the defenseless receiver hit that should have been called on DeAndre Hopkins. Don't be mad at that. Don't be mad at that. Be mad at Trey Smith. It's Trey Smith's fault that even had to happen. So you can't have those little mistakes to go from 3rd and 1 to 3rd and 16. And now you have to throw a Hail Mary pass essentially to DeAndre Hopkins, hope he catches the football when he's going to get mollywopped.
Yeah, I have to completely agree with you, because at the end of the day, he's doing what he needs to do. And I wish I had a good graphic for it. Let me see if I do. This is going to be a little rudimentary. Apologies here, folks. But this guy, I just got a stat from Tej Seth, and kudos to him for pulling this out. Chiefs, including with Hop, the offense is first in EPA per play and first in success rate on late downs, meaning third and substantial distance. That is significant. When it comes down to make it plays, sometimes with Mahomes scrambling, they are able to still perform. That's really the key here. And Hop helps that. X helps that. It's going to come together, especially, good Lord, the league needs to watch out when they get Hollywood back. Because just as the two of them can play off of each other and you can keep Travis underneath, you can keep Noah underneath, when you have 3, it's going to be everything that we had hoped all season long until every single one of these injuries hit, and we had to rework every plan that we've had. So that's the way that it's gone.
I'm just waiting.
Yep.
And you know what? I'm not gonna. I don't mean to do this to you, Only Knives. You're not the only person that I've seen say it. Why don't you try catching that football when you get hit like that? Like it's tough for anybody. Like DeAndre Hopkins has fantastic hands. He's going to get a little bit of a pass on that one. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Even he said he drops are so rare for him. He even called himself out on it 3 or 4 years when he had one. Like, that's how rare it is. Justin, glad you made it. Sorry you're late, but we're just talking our normal BS. So Girk, nice to see you. Thanks again for the support. And not as much alliteration this time, but I'll get through it. Talk about drama endings. Humphrey injury, last-minute doink field goal, phantom penalties, Mahomes hits, different CBs, left tackles, wide receivers, and yet the same result. And that is a good way to look at it. There is a positive side of this coin, and kudos for all of you who made it in here live, 1,500. That's a pretty sizable crowd, so thank you guys for being here. If you're new to us, like, sub, hit the bell. The kudos part is they've thrown everything at you. You've had injuries at all these different positions, multiple injuries at several positions, and you've still been able to string a way to win all these games. Whether it's a blocked field goal or whether it's that one barely making it in, good Lord, you have to at least take a step back sometimes. The rest of the league's going to bitch and moan, but you got to appreciate the fact that even with all this stuff, they've still been able to eke it out, and they haven't been able to be 100% full strength since day one. This team, this 2024 team, has never been full strength because they lost Iowa before the first game.
Yeah. It's weird. Like, it's sometimes, last year they were getting the shaft. Like, they just couldn't figure it out, right? And they were on their way to being maybe the worst team that they've ever been, and then they will win a Super Bowl. Like it's hard to contextualize everything that you're seeing because your eyes say that that's a bad football team. At least it's an average football team, right? Like, that looks like an average football team, and they're 12-1. So it's because of all of the little things they do in the key moments of football games. How was their clock management today? Brilliant. It was so beautiful, and I hated watching Kareem Hunt just take a football and then just drop to the ground every single time he ran it, basically. But it forces them to call timeouts. And then in that key moment, Patrick Mahomes is the man. 3rd and 7. Okay. Well, I'm just going to make sure I get this because I know that you guys can't do anything when I do. So it's every time, key moments, football games, largely, blowouts don't happen very often. They don't typically happen. You look across the NFL. The Jaguars beat the Titans today. Like, there's a lot of, honestly, the Giants almost beat the Saints. Those key moments, the Chiefs are far and away better than every team in the NFL. And that's what it comes down to. They're comfortable in uncomfortability, and they make it seem routine every week.
I will tell you this, just a little update so far. Doesn't seem like DJ Humphries is going to be significant, and he was pretty positive on his performance. Okay. Said it was initially pretty fast for him, but he settled down and did a good job in the end. So more details as the presser goes on. Thank you, Girk. Appreciate you as always, my friend. And Brandon had a good point here. What's the deal with abandoning the run so much? Well, that's an Andy tendency, but I will say, actually, it wasn't that bad today. When you add it up, it was 20 called runs versus 40 dropbacks. So 33% for an Andy called offense. That's not terrible. My goal is always 40% out of Andy Reid. So it's that it was situationally a desert for a play or three. A drive or three, when it was like, oh, we forgot that we could actually just hand the ball off.
Mm-hmm. And some moments too, right? Like the 3rd and 1 that should have probably been but they're comfortable doing what they did. Like I said, they've done it for years where they'll get a little flat route, whether it's McCole Hardman, used to be, Tyreek Hill. We had Xavier Worthy out there. But the problem is when you do it against a team that's familiar with it, it's easy. The Chargers had no worries. They knew exactly what was coming. So I just think that you need to be comfortable in your ability to run the ball in short yardage to where you say, we're just going to play, 12 personnel. Our guys are going to get 2 yards. You have to be able to do that. And late in the game, they did. They did it multiple times. They showed you they could do it. So I think it was inexcusable at the moment because of the defense needing a breather. Sure. But if you put it into a position where the ball has to be completed versus put the ball on the ground, run the ball, that decision didn't make a whole lot of sense to me.
It's perfectly fair. Absolutely. And thank you, Brandon, for bringing it up. Chris, appreciate you. 9th straight AFC West division title. For those of you who don't know, I started Locked On Chiefs a year earlier than this. That's how long this has been going on. So for you guys who joined us, obviously RGR came along a couple of years later, but this is the most fun that we have, and we appreciate you guys being here with us. If you're new to us, like, sub, hit the bell, get in there. We're going to go through this one because several folks brought it up, and I said something about it the other day that people didn't take too kindly to, but Adam Roach said Eric Bieniemy needs to give them a good speech. And T was saying specifically EB is needed. And I hinted at this because when the announcement came out that he mutually departed UCLA, and that was his plan altogether, I think that was possibly a concept. I don't know if that was actually a plan. But to take advantage of early head coaching opportunities being vacant and you being available, that does make sense to me. But in the meantime, there's no reason. You can't hang around. Help Andy out a little bit. A good kick in the pants for Andy Reid doesn't hurt either, because I do think that is an aspect that's been missing. It doesn't have to be formal. You could hire him on for the remainder of the season, but again, that would preclude him from the interview process. So I would like to see him around practice, though. Would you?
Okay, fine. Whatever. I mean, he had to go help out his little brother at UCLA. So why don't come help, Andy Reid, I don't know, your big brother. I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't really care if he wants to hang out. Fine. That's awesome. Whatever.
Okay. We'll see it when we see it. Will, thank you, buddy. Appreciate your support. Could Nazi be converted to a free safety? Also, do we expect McDuffie to be in the slot when Steven Nelson is ready? If they sign him, if Steven is actually able to play, that's step number one. Steven is definitely an outside corner. So I don't know that it changes much. It's basically taking the place of Josh Williams and Jalen Watson, who we're assuming are both out. Now, I'm not sure about that. Jay Will could be okay. We'll just see. But if they did need him, that's the role he would be in. I don't think it affects McDuffie in any way, shape, or form. I do feel like we didn't see CRW that I saw much on defense. He did not get a rep that I saw. Maybe I'm wrong there. But I think Nazi is a good option to be inside, and I think CRW is a good option to be outside. Obviously, Trent needs to be able to take away whoever's the greatest threat. But a lot of that's going to be on the outside, and if Steven came in and played on the opposite side, that's perfectly fine. They do like Taylor. They do have Rush. There are still other options, but they're all on the young side. So the much like DJ Humphries, the thing that Steven Nelson gives you is experience. And he's got an absolutely, I'm the worst MFer in the world attitude. And honestly, the Chiefs could use a little bit of that right now.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I think that hopefully, I expect if he walks into the building and he's not limping, he's going to get a contract. Just good to go. Expect that to happen. And Nazi Johnson was drafted as a safety, so let's not forget. I don't think he was a free safety, but he was a safety. Right. So he's still learning the cornerback skill set, which is why you see some of the problems and why he goes into the slot a little bit, because as a too high safety a lot, especially in college, you play slot, so he's comfortable doing that. Makes more sense to have him that way. But let's just give a real quick round of applause to Trent McDuffie. I know he got beat on what was essentially a one-on-one. I saw that route. That was 100% him just saying, I'm in a one-on-one. But that's it. I don't care about the quarterback. I don't care about the timing of the play. I got nothing. We're just going to come up here. We're going to do a bunch of different stuff. And then we're going to go to the inside and go, oh, the ball's behind me. So, yeah, it's all cool. It looked awesome. McDuffie was on the ground. But guess what you did? You made an incompletion. So, yeah, that all looks cool. And he got talked up by, Chris Collinsworth. But literally his fault that play did not work out. And if he just runs a regular route, Trent McDuffie's on him anyway. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Yeah. So Trent McDuffie did great in this football game. He was everywhere. He was lining people up. He was making guys feel the footsteps coming downhill. He was doing it all. So he played fantastic.
I'm sorry I didn't get you in before, Sasquatch. I meant to, along with everybody else that was talking about EB. So my apologies there. Put Ryan in at tackle. Oh God, no! You're gonna see something silly. Now, if you want a fullback, that's kind of my gig. So let me know. I could give you 2 lead blocks, and then I'd be done, broken, and probably retired. So that'll do that. Yeah, we have a bunch of box safeties. You are absolutely right. Every one of these guys is a box safety. They're asking to play high. That is the problem. Back to Scott. Run more play action. Why are they not? They're not calling enough play action plays. I know other than the back-to-back, do you agree with that?
So I would agree with you if this was the Chiefs of 6 weeks ago, because they ran the ball effectively. They were, I believe, number 1 in rushing success rate. Since then, they are like bottom of the NFL in terms of success rate in the run game. So play action is important, but you have to threaten a defense with the run. You have to be able to show that you can run the football. And right now, Isaiah Pacheco is getting back. He's getting, he had the big run 2 weeks ago. He had some plays in this game where you saw, oh, okay, that's nice. That's what we're looking for. But overall, they don't have the style of offense. And I'm going to be honest, Patrick Mahomes' play action fake half the time is awful. It's basically non-existent. He doesn't even bother putting it in the mesh point. He just does this. It's this. That's all it is. It's nothing. So they don't care enough about it to really be and impactful, do it enough to really, again, run the football and run that play action. But they do have enough of it sprinkled in right now that you're seeing big plays still generated from it.
Yeah. And luckily they are, because they need those at this point. You have to have the big positives at times. So, Scott, thank you, buddy. We appreciate you. Last call for super chats, folks, as the pressers are getting close to done. I'm going to have to jump over to Locked On Chiefs. You can come join us there. Matt and Derek will be live from the stadium with us. Now, let's see. Sean had a point. Worthy not being given jet sweeps. Would like to see more of that. I mean, it's a fair concept. He did a bit early in the season, but honestly, teams started to trigger on it. And I think that in his role with what they think of him, I feel like they'd be sniffing it out a little bit too much. What do you think?
Yeah, they're using it, I think, at a good rate right now in terms of the fake. You want to give that defense that smidge of seconds, say he could get this. Because, yes, I still think that later in the football season, later in the playoffs, he's going to get a couple of them. But you ran a lot of those in the beginning of the season with the end arounds and the jet sweep, stuff like that, to get him the football. And now you're using it to open up the middle of your middle of the defense. Also, you're going to get some quick screens, like in some quick passes. Mm-hmm. So they're developing his route tree right now. Okay. They're using him a lot more in motion. You know, a couple of weeks ago, they kind of scaled it back. He's starting to be used more in motion. He's developing more of the route tree. And then you see today the flash of, oh, I need to be available to my quarterback who is escaping in the pocket. And that's what you want. You want that from Xavier Worthy, because he's not having like 100-yard games, but right. The incremental learning that has happened over the last month has been so valuable for him, because he doesn't make a lot of the plays that we're seeing right now, those, 6 weeks ago. So that's real, true, something you can see on tape growth.
Yeah, much like Rasheed. It's a little bit later than Rasheed did last season, but I do believe that was partially you can attribute that to the bye, to tell you the truth. But it is progress nonetheless. Thanks, Sean. Robert, Kingsley next week. No, buddy, no. Next week is a man named Myles Garrett. Kingsley ain't playing against him. It was acceptable to me had they wanted to not rush DJ if they tried Kingsley out this game, because Mac and even Bosa to some extent is not a speed rusher around the outside. They're going to be more in front of you. And I felt like Kingsley could have dealt with that. Garrett's a different animal. Garrett has longer arms than Kingsley. The one advantage that Kingsley usually has is his feet and his arms. I would not put him out there against Myles.
No, if the injury to DJ Humphries is not as serious, maybe you make him the backup and you continue with essentially making Kingsley inactive every single week. At this point, his mental stability is clearly not where it could have been, in my opinion, but that's neither here nor there. And you have to deal with what you have. So it's probably going to be Wanya Morris. And Andy Reid needs to scheme the ever-loving hell out of this football game against Myles Garrett. Because at the end of the day, even Jameis Winston can give you one in this for this defense. They don't turn the football over, but Jameis Winston going to give you one. He's going to do it. So just let it happen, and maybe you can get away with something.
Yeah. Crush your fingers. Ryan, thanks for the $5. We appreciate you. Did you guys notice neither Mahomes nor Jones was not sweating during the ring presser after the games? Are we literally not playing hard yet? No, I don't. I would not say that at all. Those guys usually get a breath of fresh air. Just because they're not sweating underneath the lights doesn't mean that they're not playing hard. By the time they walk in, sometimes they drag out those pressers long enough they get to shower real quick. I don't even know what goes on. So I wouldn't read that in.
A little chilly too. Like it's still like, under 50-ish degrees. So if they go out after a game where they win like that, you're not really sweating when you are celebrating. Like that doesn't, for whatever reason, your body does not sweat when you're like running in celebration. You're more just like in the wind and it's like drying all that sweat. So I wouldn't worry too much about that.
Okay. Thank you, Ryan. Appreciate you. Steeman Demon, did we actually lose Humphries is out for a year? No, not at all. We don't know if he's going to even miss any time. It's a look like a hamstring to me, but we don't even have that for certain yet, unless Andy said something in the last 30 seconds. No, it's Patrick now. So no, we don't know. Definitely not out for the year, Steeman. Thanks for the 2-spot there, bud. Beth, thank you. My first video from you guys was the barn burner against the Rams. Holy crap.
That's
they
awesome.
had another one today, the Rams did.
They did.
Also, the Bills still have a tough last leg of the season. We got this. I'm glad to hear your confidence, Beth. Thank you. Very, very kind, and glad that you're still here, buddy. Marshall, nice to see you back. Thanks for the support. This is my favorite win of the season. Didn't matter what happened before. Last 2 drives, defense holding the field goal, offense drives and eats the clock for a walk-off field goal. That is a boost. Go KC. I like the way you think, buddy. Take the positives when you get them, because this stuff is crazy, and it's going to get to me eventually. I'm just warning y'all. Go support Locked On Chiefs after this. Thank you, Dirty. I appreciate you, buddy. And Will, I will be at the Browns game. Good for you. I'm excited for you. Excited to see Myles Garrett in person, but also concerned for 15 if the line struggles. How would you try to stop him? Now, we're going to cover this next Friday for certain in our pregame. We'll probably talk about it a little bit through the week as well, but what's your initial concept?
I'm going to give you guys what I'm going to talk about on Friday, but I'm not going to tell you exactly. Go watch the 2022 Week 9, I believe, Chiefs versus San Francisco 49ers. Tell me how that worked out, and then you'll see what my plan is and what I'm going to talk about on Friday. Just go back and watch that game and see what they did against one Nick Bosa.
I like it. I like it. The problem that you get with Garrett is he's not the most explosive first step. He's not the absolute strongest bull rush. He does everything at a near elite level. I'd say he needs a spin counter that's a little bit quicker. But by the time he turns, his club elbow is knocking guys out. There's just not something one guy can do. You need Humphreys. If it's not Humphreys, this whole plan changes. And it's going to take 3 and 4 guys, in my opinion, to do it, plus rolling the pocket and a couple of other things, which we will break down for you on Friday. Thanks, Will. I appreciate you, buddy, and the support tonight. And from Red, this will be our last one for the night, folks. Thanks for being with us. Make sure you like and sub and hit the bell. We'll be back with you tomorrow night at 7 Central for the Q&A. Wait, we didn't run the shuttle pass tonight, did we?
No,
and it's a good thing.
Good job, Andy. You got one right. You got one.
Thanks for bringing it up, Red, and we appreciate you guys. Have a great Monday. Be with us tomorrow night. I'll be on Locked On Chiefs as soon as possible. It's always an interesting way to get connected there. So Matt has to find a good spot and find good connection. But we will be up there pretty shortly as it looks like the pressers are wrapping. Thanks for being with us, Dan. Thanks for talking me off the ledge tonight. I appreciate it.
We got to just kind of laugh at this point, right? Like I wasn't even like worried watching the game. I was not even a little bit stressed out. I just accepted it. Back-to-back weeks where you win by 2. Two. That's it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't.
I'm happy. I'm happy.
Good. Let's all be happy.
Frame in mind.
Have a happy Monday, and we'll talk to you tomorrow night.